The life simulation you're about to experience today is that of a 24-year-old office worker who walked into a beauty clinic for a free skincare trial and walked out with an 8,000 yuan loan she didn't sign for. Just call me Shaolin. On the way home from work, I passed the shopping district. An electronic screen kept looping a free skincare trial pitch. I dropped my phone number into the form, and the receptionist instantly came rushing over, all smiles. She told me only 2 slots were left for the night. I make 4,500 yuan a month, and being suddenly wrapped in this VIP treatment honestly went to my head a little. The waiting area had imported coffee, glossy magazines, and walls covered in photos of influencers endorsing the brand. She asked me to fill out a skin profile first, said the analysis was free. The form demanded my national ID, home address, employer, and emergency contact. I hesitated, and she said without those fields she couldn't activate my free slot. Once I finished, she photographed the front and back of my ID, claiming she needed to send it to the doctor for credentialing. I didn't realize then that this packet of data was already enough to push a full loan application through. I walked into the consultation room. The lights suddenly warmed. The background music shifted to soft piano. The consultant introduced herself as the chief physician, her white coat showing off a gold-embossed name tag. She pulled out a skin scanner and ran it across my face for 2 minutes. The screen popped a red warning: 72% dehydration, severe collagen loss. She sighed and said if I didn't act now I'd age 10 years. Yet the face in the mirror looked fine to me that morning, and now suddenly it looked like someone else's. The free treatment, she said, only worked once and lasted 3 days. To really fix things, I'd need to upgrade to imported injections, originally 1,980 yuan per vial. I told her it was too expensive, I'd pass. She immediately waved me off, said there was an internal promotion that night. 3 vials for 5,800 yuan, plus a post-treatment recovery package worth 2,000 thrown in. I did the math in my head. Her so-called premium injectable wholesales for around 80 yuan a vial. The retail markup was easily 20-fold. I still shook my head. She instantly switched tactics, said she could see I was a salaried worker, and the company could approve a special beauty installment plan, just over 300 yuan a month, less than what I spend on milk tea. Her speech sped up like a news anchor on a deadline. Tonight, she insisted, was the last day she had approval authority. By tomorrow, it would be too late. She handed me a tablet to review the installment plan. The monthly payment was bold on screen, but the annual percentage rate column was printed so small you could barely see it. I only learned later that the APR on that plan was 36%, sitting right on China's legal usury red line. 1 percentage point higher, and it would have been illegal. She told me to tap a few confirmations, said it was just a pre-approval check, that without signing a contract it wasn't a real loan. That was the most critical lie in the whole script. I tapped the face scan, tapped the SMS verification, tapped the so-called pre-approval consent. The whole flow took under 5 minutes, faster than ordering takeout. She smiled and said the pre-approval cleared, so we could head straight into the treatment room. I thought it was efficient, never realizing the loan contract had already been formed. The treatment room door shut, and the nurse had me lie down for the numbing cream. Once it hit my skin, my whole face went dead, my eyelids grew heavy, and my head started drifting. Right in that window, the consultant walked back in with the tablet and said there was still a liability waiver to sign. She grabbed my finger and dragged it across the screen for me. My eyes were almost shut. All I saw were blurry rectangles. She read off something about acknowledging the terms. I mumbled in agreement, and she counted that as confirmation. Looking back, that single signature was actually formal acceptance of the loan contract. 8,000 yuan principal, 24 installments, for 172 yuan each, all officially in force. While she gave the injections, I was still half asleep. The nurse said I was getting their top-tier serum. In reality, those vials were the same product as the free trial out front. When it was over, the consultant pressed a face mask gift bag into my hand as a parting gift. Not once during the entire visit did she say the word contract. Just a cheerful, "See you next time." I went home and didn't even receive an electronic copy of the contract. The clinic said they'd resend the email. The next day, I went to work as usual, assuming the whole thing was behind me. A week later, the first deduction text arrived. Some fintech company had auto-debited 472 yuan, with 23 installments still to go and a 0.1% daily late fee on overdue amounts. I assumed it was a scam and called my bank's customer service immediately. The agent pulled the records and confirmed it was a legitimate consumer finance loan, with the signing time and location all matching. I stormed back to the clinic for an explanation. The front desk had a whole new crew. They said my consultant had quit. The new manager just shrugged and said the signature and stamp made everything fully compliant. When they pulled up my electronic signature record, I saw the signature box was tucked at the very bottom of the liability waiver, with the loan confirmation pre-checked by default. I flipped to the last page of the contract. There it was in plain sight, 36% APR plus handling fees, service fees, and consultation fees. The all-in cost was approaching 50%, which means I got a skincare injection that cost the clinic less than 100 yuan, and I'd end up paying back nearly 11,000 yuan. The spread was wilder than any hot stock pick. The clinic offered to let me settle privately for an extra 5,000 yuan to cancel the installments, but the contract on the financial company's side was still active. The clinic had no authority over it. Pure blame shifting. I searched online and found over 3,000 complaints about beauty loans last year alone. The most absurd, a woman bought a 300 yuan group buy voucher and got rolled into 50,000 yuan of debt. When I read that number, my hands were shaking. I wasn't a one-off victim. I was just one ordinary part on the assembly line. The clinic and the lender had already split the take long before I walked in. I started fighting back systematically. Step 1. I called the China Financial Regulator Hotline 12378, the dedicated line for consumer finance disputes. The line was easier to reach than I expected. I uploaded my consultation recordings, contract screenshots, and deduction records. Within 3 days, the case was routed to my local financial bureau, and the lender's tone immediately softened. Step 2. I went on the Himeo consumer complaints platform and posted publicly, naming the clinic, the brand, and the lender. Public traffic is the fastest pressure machine there is. The day my post went live, the brand's PR DM'd me. The next day, a designated rep called and said the original contract could be canceled, with the loss absorbed by the clinic. Step 3. I prepared a civil lawsuit, organizing evidence around 3 angles: induced signature, false advertising, and bundled sales. Even one of those filed alone would be too risky for them to fight. I packaged all 3 steps into a template and sent it to other women who had fallen into the same trap. Some of them followed the playbook and got full refunds of 12,000 yuan within 7 days. The settlement I finally reached with the clinic. The installment contract was fully canceled. The clinic absorbed the entire 8,000 yuan principal, and I owed nothing. The whole process took 41 days, with 2 trips to the financial regulator, 7 drafts of legal complaints, and 3 mediation sessions. Not once did I beg through tears. I wrote my full account into a long post and put it on social media. It cracked 1 million reads in 3 days. At least 80 women in the comments said they'd fallen into the exact same trap. Looking back at that clinic, the so-called chief physician held only a beautician's certificate. The so-called imported injectable wasn't even registered with the drug regulator. The whole costume was tailored to prey on rank-and-file workers. The word free is the most expensive entry point there is. Any shop that wants you to do the procedure first and sign later, or scan your face before you can talk, is fundamentally harvesting your financial identity. 3 actions to remember. Switch off biometric payment authorization on your phone before walking in. Photograph every page with your camera before signing, and ask point-blank before paying whether this runs as a consumer loan or a prepayment. If you've already been pushed into signing, the move is dial 12378 immediately, file on Himeo consumer complaints, and preserve every chat log and surveillance clip. Any one of those 3 steps is enough to lock onto them. Now I funnel the money that would have been auto-deducted into a fund account every month, treating it as tuition for the trap I walked into. Wanting to look better is fine. Going broke for it is the real ugliness. So if it were you walking past after work, the screen flashing those words free skincare trial, the receptionist already smiling and waving you in, would you really turn around and leave, or would you walk in for me?